All right, it's still our live coverage of the off-cycle election in Kogi, Imo and Bayelsa State, and we have our correspondents scattered across these states to bring us up to speed with developments leading up to the election tomorrow. We are counting down in hours. And we still have the ACP Force PRO Muyiwa Dejobi standing by to still speak with us with regards to the matter of security across these three states, and we still have our correspondent Ayo Ozugbaku in Kogi State bringing us up to speed with developments there. But let me come to you, ACP. Concerns raised in Kogi State. You heard our correspondent what he said with regards to there's still the ghost of 2019 still hovering around the people of the state. They are concerned security-wise. They have no issues with INEC doing their job, but security-wise ensuring that everyone is safe because of the rhetorics leading up to the election. Those concerns, how do you address them?
Well, let me state clearly that we know that these three states, they have histories of various electoral issues in the past, not only Kogi State, even in Imo and Bayelsa. So we know, and the message the IGP gave to them, Kogi specifically, was that leaders talk to their followers and supporters to maintain peace. You will recollect that I think 2 or 3 days ago, there was a problem in Aiba, in Kogi State, where some admin invaded the house of one of the STP stores in that state. The IGP made it known clearly that the police will investigate that matter. So if you think you want to foment trouble in Kogi, in Bayelsa or Imo states, there is no how you want to go scot-free. The IGP has made it clear that every incident to be investigated. And we have our desk officers collating electoral offenses in all these three states. And the DIG, Force CID, DIG Abiodun Sylvester Alabi FDC, is the one IGP has mandated to do thorough investigation to all cases concerning this election in all these states. So we want to allay the fears of our people in Kogi State and the other two states that there is no problem. The only thing I know is we are dynamic in nature as human beings, so as much as our processes are dynamic in nature. Don't let us live in the past that maybe in 2019 there are certain issues that could intimidate us that time, but now most of these issues have been addressed. And with the deployment we have, with the new leadership we have in the police, in the Ministry of Police Affairs, Service Commission, and all other concerned military, ministry, department, and agencies, we are going to get it right this time around. And the warning again is for those who might want to come out to foment trouble tomorrow. Whoever that does that will have a bloody nose. Whoever that does that will not go scot-free. Definitely we're going to get such a person, no matter how you want to do it, and you are going to meet to Waterloo, you are going to face the music. It is a message. We can't rule out the fact that certain individuals might want to come out, deviants, to cause trouble, but we are ready for them. We are going to give it to them according to their sizes. Everyone has his own size, and we are ready to give to them accordingly. But we can still warn them. There's room for us to warn them. There's room for them to have a second thought, sheath their sword, and remain in their houses. For those who have their PVCs, can come out. Those who don't have their PVCs, they don't have any business coming out in any way, because they are going to be embarrassed. We don't want people to move in groups. We don't want them to meet in numbers. So we want them to please play the game according to the rule of the game. We have Electoral Act 2022, and are going to enforce the provisions of this particular act totally tomorrow.
All right, everyone has their sizes. You heard him very clearly, senior correspondent Ayodele Ozugbaku. Perhaps you can quickly walk us through what the security presence is like on the streets of Lokoja, particularly when you consider the huge number of deployments that we've heard from the police in that regard. How has their interaction been, and how often do you see them on the streets?
They're all over. They're everywhere. And when you look at the deployments, from the face value, it's watertight. But it is when we get to the brass tacks tomorrow, It is when it's between the hours of 12 noon, 1 p.m. that's when we see these boys in action. Now, in Kogi State is a peculiar situation. We have, apart from the party divide, we have ethnicity. Ethnicity is going to be going to play a major role in tomorrow's election, whether you like it or not. And a lot of people and everything. And we saw a lot of people even leaving Lokoja to go to their communities to actually exercise their franchise. But it's all looking good a day before the election. That's the normal thing. But what I'm saying that what we witnessed 4 years ago, I will still emphasize on that. And if you check the books, we expect that the number of people that have collected their PVC, that they will come out if they get that guarantee tomorrow morning that they are going to be safe. And it's not about the concentration of security, Lokoja alone, because I am in Lokoja, have not gone to other parts of the state. And that is the critical part. Those are the critical areas we are talking about. Yes, Lokoja 4 years ago was highly fortified, but in spite of that, we see breaches here and there. So what we are looking at now are those remote areas. The topography of Kogi State is very peculiar, that the sharing boundaries with 10 other states, and from Lokoja here, it could take you 5 hours to get to some local government, 6 hours to get some local government, remote areas. So are they going to beam the searchlight they are talking about, not concentrating on Lokoja alone, to get to other areas so that they will be able to protect lives and property there? The rhetorics from politicians ahead of this, leading to this election has not been encouraging, and the incidents and the number of violence reported has not been too encouraging. So people are watching Kogi State in particular, that things will improve tomorrow, hopefully.
Indeed, I'll take this back to the ACP. The matter of the rhetorics leading up to this election. There's been so much accusation and counter-accusation, to the extent, I recall, Nifemi, you interviewed one of the stakeholders, Absolutely. And he said he petitioned the police. I wonder how the police is addressing all of these accusations, because that stakeholder was saying that the police actually have and know these persons, they have the evidence before them, so to speak.
Mandated the DIG investigation to investigate all cases. There are some cases that the police will handle and prosecute. But you know, generally, according to the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022, most of the electoral related cases or crimes will be investigated by the police, and our case file sent to INEC for prosecution. The police will not prosecute any electoral offense or offender. It is the INEC that will prosecute. Our job is just to investigate and hand over to them to prosecute. We work with INEC, we support INEC for prosecution and due diligence as regards this. So, that any case can still report the case, follow up his case, but I can assure you, with the marching order given to the DIG investigation, I am sure all cases will be adequately and professionally attended to.
Quite comforting the way you have put it, and I'm sure that you also heard from our Bayelsa State correspondent earlier, who talked about protests. We've seen a lot of redeployment prior to this election, ACP. How do you react to the concerns in Bayelsa, where they're asking for a redeployment of the Commissioner of Police?
The commissioner of police is a very high-ranking officer in the police. Deployments, posting of officers are routine things, and in most cases, the discretion of the Inspector General of Police. The IGP knows his officers. He knows those who are competent to handle situations like this. He knows those who are election security managers, and is going to act accordingly. So he's somebody who has spent many years in the job. He has risen through the ranks to this stage, and he knows all his colleagues and his subordinates. He knows almost all of them. So the calling for deployment of a commissioner of police is not something we're going to respond to spontaneously. The IG will need to assess certain things. We need to consider so many things. If there is need for him to redeploy, he will deploy. If there is no need to redeploy anybody, he will not deploy anybody. The only thing is going to make sure these officers are adequately supervised. And that's why DIGs are in charge of all these states. You know, DIGs are very senior officers too. They are on the field personally to manage this election security. So every CP, every IG is under the command of DIG. So the command of CP or AIG is immaterial. The DIG is the one in charge. I'm sure the CP Bayelsa is not the one to command. He cannot even deploy. He can't do anything without a directive from the DIG on ground. So I don't know why they call for a CP or an AIG or a DPO. It's not consequential. So they just need to understand our operations. They need to understand our administrative procedures.
But don't you think that this might have its implication on tomorrow's election, where the people do not repose confidence because of their demands not being met?
What will be the implication? Are police officers going to polling booth to vote?
They are not.
Are they not going to
they are part of the process.
They are part of the process, but these people they are calling, remove the CP. Is the CP deploying?
But we saw what happened in Imo. For the matter of neutrality, the CP was deployed. Why is Bayelsa different?
No. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it wrong. The CP Imo was deployed for many reasons, not even because of any allegation or a call to remove him. I've read through in the news that people are saying IGP succumbed to pressure. No, don't let us get it wrong. These are psychological projections. We have reasons, and there are so many things that happen internally in the police that would not be known to members of the public.
But are you saying that the police is paying attention to the concerns and the voices of the protest? Is there an ongoing investigation in this regard, ACP?
The DIG in Bayelsa State is in charge. He has reacted to this issue. He was on ground personally, and he has made certain comments about this. So don't let us flog this unnecessarily. He's a very senior man. He knows what to do as at when due. So he has taken a decision on that. If there's need for him to still review whatever they have done, he's capable enough to think and take decisions, even on behalf of the Inspector General of Police. And if he thinks he needs to inform the IGP, he's going to call the IGP and they're going to deliberate on what to do. So let's allow him to perform his duties as the DIG election in Bayelsa State.
Ayo, has there been any concern of this nature in Kogi where you are, where stakeholders are asking for redeployment, whether with the police or other stakeholders?
No, I've not gotten wind of any of that agitation, but let me just bust the bubble of the police PRO. There's a major election partner in Nigeria that will cover every election together for 4 years. We are at this hotel together 4 years ago, and they normally have a situation room here. And in Bayelsa, they are not in Kogi State.
That we are going to be neutral enough, and is number one
Africa does not have a presence here. They are operating from Abuja because of the security report.
Hold on, ACP.
ACP, if you could just hold on. ACP, if you could just hold on. Our correspondent, Ayo, is trying to pass across an information that is critical for you to listen to. Right, go ahead, Ayo.
Africa, they don't have their situation room in Kogi State, as I'm telling you. They are going to be operating from Abuja because of this palpable fear and the security report they've gotten that Yaga Africa, they are not on ground here. And they are major election partners. There's no election we've done as TVC, as a TV station, that we don't refer to their statistics, their correspondence, their analysis. They check out things. They have situation rooms. They have where they capture everything. They have their own situation room, and they capture everything real time. But this year, Yaga Africa is going to operate because of the palpable fear and tension ahead of the governorship election in Kogi State. They're operating from Abuja.
Interesting twist of the story, ACP, talking about how even civil society organizations are reacting to the narrative in Kogi State. How's the police reacting to this, particularly speaking to the electorate who will be coming out tomorrow?
Well, I was not in Kogi when the civil society reacted to this, and I could not even get Ayo properly, not audio here at my end. But I'm sure that whatever the issues, concerns, of people in Kogi, Bayelsa, Imo states. All these things will be addressed by the Deputy Inspectors General of Police in charge of these states. Don't let us be dwelling in the past that incident happened in 2019 and incident happened in 2015 and nothing was done. We have new leadership in the police. We have new leadership in this country. Let us allow them to take charge of these things, and I can assure everybody concerned that we are going to be neutral, we are going to be apolitical, and we are going to be professional. And like I said, for any reason that we have any erring or deviant officer on the field now during this electoral process, such an officer will be sanctioned accordingly. IGP meant it. He was not just talking and carelessly about it. IGP was very passionate about it. He was in Kogi, he was in Nimo, he was in Bayelsa. So he got the message across to them. He addressed officers and men who have been deployed to all these states for this special assignment. So I'm sure every police officer is aware of this. They know the philosophy, they know the vision of the Inspector General of Police, and they know his standards. So we want to assure everyone that whatever concerns they have, let them discuss with the DIGs on ground. I am sure they're experienced enough, they are matured enough, they are professional enough to attend to all their concerns accordingly.
Right. I believe this should allay the fears of those who are concerned or raising concerns about tomorrow's election. But let's look at the conversations around what would shape the election tomorrow. You have been on ground. You must have been hearing a thing or two with regards to the dynamics that will shape the election tomorrow.
You know, I told you earlier that this is a peculiar situation that Kogi State, we have the Gala people, we have the Ibira people, we have the Okun people. And looking at these three major ethnic groups, these are three dominant ethnic groups here, and they believe in it's my turn, it's your turn, and maybe that is what obtains in the past. That will also, the issue of also, be a major factor to influence voters. The Gala people, they might be staying with their own. The Ibira people might be staying with their own. And we have candidates from the three major ethnic groups that will be contesting from each of those political parties tomorrow. And that will go a long way in informing who ever emerges at the end of the day, or it will affect the pattern of votes. And for the fact that they've had an incumbent that's been there for 7.5, going to 8 years right now, it will also be a major factor. Don't forget that this incumbency is also a major factor that they might want to look at the achievements on ground and what the person has done and the party structure. The party might be formidable. So all these factors will be major factors that will actually influence voters tomorrow in making their decision and choices.
Well, interesting day ahead, and we're looking forward to how that will play out. Let's tidy this up on the part of the police. Quickly, ACP, in the past we've had concerns about how policemen who are attached to polling units just look away from issues like vote buying and things like that. What is the rule of engagement, for policemen in this regard?
Well, we have conflicting provisions of our law, particularly the Electoral Acts, saying that the electoral officer on ground has many roles to play when it comes to this. When we have electoral offenders around in polling units, they expect the electoral officer to take charge and call the attention of security operatives. But whatever it is, don't forget that they have incorporated FCC into ISIS. And basically it's because of handling issues of vote buying and the likes. Vote buying and canvassing for votes, I'm sure they are not the same thing. So I don't know, I want to just oppose that. But the fact is, operatives are on ground this time around. We have a new system on ground. We have reinforced the membership of ISIS to take care of all these new cases that are coming up as per elections in Nigeria. For those who want to go out and carry cash and be buying or canvassing for votes that want to buy votes, they should know it's a criminal offense. But one thing is, people should call attention of security operatives to this. Vote buying is a silent operation. even if they are buying a vote by your side, as a reporter, as a policeman, if you're not careful, you will not be able to notice that. It's a silent operation. Nobody will carry megaphone and be shouting at any polling unit that, please, oh, I have to come and sell your vote. I've never seen that kind of a situation in life. So we want people to call attention of security operatives to any development of this kind so that they can take necessary action, or you call the electoral officer on ground or INEC officials on ground to give instructions to security operatives at various polling units to do the needful.
Just for clarity, ACP, just for clarity in this regard, so if you call the attention of a policeman to vote buying, what is that policeman expected to do?
Well, I think our people should be educated enough that at any polling unit, I'm talking of polling unit now.
Yes.
The electoral officer is the owner of that polling unit. So I think he should be the one to take charge. But outside the polling unit, if we notice our operative deployed either from the police or any members of SS notice such, they have the right to act. They don't need to wait for any INEC official or electoral official.
So you're saying a police officer attached to a polling unit doesn't have the right to arrest anyone found selling or buying votes?
He will not. He will not except he's been directed or advised or to do by the electoral officer who holds the polling unit.
So,
interesting.
What's his role at the polling unit then?
So, without the electoral officer asking the policeman, what if it is a case of violence? What's the protocol in that regard?
Because there's been the talks about
it's a matter.
Arresting anyone caught.
It's a matter of law.
Snatching ballot box.
It's a matter of law. And don't forget, I've told you there are so many things that we still need to address in the provisions of the Electoral Act that's giving gaps to insecurity and ineffectiveness of policing electoral process. These are facts that we need to discuss. These are facts that civil liberty organizations, interested groups should raise, and we have review of some of these provisions. In fact, the issue of harm or no arms at polling units, we still need to revisit this and review this process, because the men at various polling units are not harmed. Don't forget. The law says they must not be harmed. Right. That's why we are making provision of another ring of armed men who will embark on motorized patrol to give cover to them. But it's always very good that we review some of these laws so that we can be in tandem with current happenings in our electoral process.
Absolutely.
It's very, very critical.
That's how much time, but I think I'll have to tweet that. A police officer attached to a police station, a polling unit, cannot do anything except instructed by the electoral officer. A big thank you, ACP Muyiwa Dejabi, Police Force PRO. Thank you so much for shedding some light on some of these developments.
And let's not forget Ayodele Uzubaku, our senior correspondent in Kogi State, monitoring the election there. Thank you as well.
We're back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. as we monitor very closely developments in Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa State. We have our correspondents all across these 3 geopolitical zones, and TVC News is the place to be.
Absolutely. We'll see you tomorrow at 7.